Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of F1 24 Career Mode here on the channel. Hope you're all having a great day. Today we have, well, a home Grand Prix for several drivers as well as teams on the grid. It's the British Grand Prix, home Grand Prix for our Williams team that we drive for, of course, here. And that means as well we are actually using the Golf livery this weekend here in Silverstone. We're coming into Silverstone with really no improvements on the car. Mercedes makes some gains there, but we're coming in with 23 points compared to our teammate of Albon there with about 17 now, as we had our career best finish of P6 there in Austria. Of course, there was a bit of help to make that happen with the rain and the transition into dry, and we made a bit of an aggressive call early to go onto the dry compound tire, and it wasn't working right away. It took a good 4, 5, 6 laps, it felt like, for anything to actually kick in. The tires didn't want to really take in temperature, but once they did, we were able to get rolling, and of course things worked out pretty well for us. Lewis Hamilton earned his 104th career win coming into his home Grand Prix here from Silverstone, and I was struggling right off the bat here in practice, going for a bit of a spin in FP1, so basically totally took the setup out of the car and put a brand new one in and made some adjustments of my own. I've been finding the anti-roll bars making a huge difference so far in the setups in this game for me in terms of crossing the line of basically not being able to drive the car or not. So I find myself turning them down. A lot of setups seems to have the anti-roll bars to the absolute maximum, where I'm turning it down to about 50% of what the maximum is, and it seems like it's a lot more tolerable. But yeah, I was definitely lacking some confidence this weekend after what was looking, promising for our teammate of Alex Albon, who was actually at the top of the grid here. Now, Sebastian Vettel as well joining us in Silverstone this weekend. It's been a few weekends since he has been at the track, but he is here and actually joining the commentary booth this weekend, so you will hear him a little bit later on going into the race. So it'll be interesting to see some insight he has to say. Nonetheless, we were rolling through into qualifying. I'm still waiting for someone to make a modded Williams helmet because I'm just not finding one anywhere, and I would like to have a custom helmet, but yeah, I haven't seen anything. But we roll through into qualifying and ready to roll here for Q number 1, and like I said, been lacking a bit of confidence so far with the car, and as we come through for our first lap, we only go P18, and yeah, not looking hot. And my second lap, it would find some gains here, and I knew where I needed to make some gains, and it was just about everywhere. I felt like I was losing some time, and you can see we gained about 2.5 tenths of a second. We crossed the stripe 3 tenths better, only P15. That's likely not going to stand. So we're on our third lap late in the session now at this point, and we have not come back into the pits. So this is just on the same run, and I actually invalidate my time. So now our back's against the wall, and we end up finding a little bit of time early on in the lap. That's about 2 tenths of a second gain, and we get closer to about 3 tenths of a second as the lap goes on, 4 tenths of a second. So now the confidence is definitely booming. Really nice voice crack right there, but we come through to the very end, and 4 tenths of a second gain, a little bit of oversteer, but to the line, it's gonna put us into the top 10, and we would drop down the order, but 4 laps in Q1 gets us through into P14, but yeah, lacking some confidence there that it took me 4 laps to actually pull that off. Ricardo, Hulkenberg, Magnussen, Bottas, all those guys out to Zhou Guanyu as we roll through into Q2. So my confidence definitely took, in my opinion, more of a hit when I know it took me 4 laps to find the pace that I needed. So here we are making a lap about halfway through Q2. We got Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen actually just in front of us. They are on their warm-up laps now, and Max Verstappen actually is going to plant himself directly in the way in the S's section. So that's going to absolutely ruin our lap. So we end up running another lap immediately. We still actually managed to beat Oscar Piastri. I think he probably had some kind of issue there with a lockup or something with being beat by me at this point, but we find on the second lap about half a second improvement at least now when we round the final turn, and we'll see where this puts us on the board now. To the line through that final right-hander, and it's P7. We beat Albon, but we're gonna have to make another lap for sure. So unfortunately, we would drop all the way down to 14th at the end of the session, and I wouldn't find any improvement. In fact, we lost, and now we actually gained right at the end. It's only going to be about half a tenth, and that's not enough. It's going to be a disappointing P14. Sorry, guys. Didn't have anything more than that. Yeah. Not really much more to say, to be honest there. Lando Norris actually in Q2 at the top of the board. Albon gets through into P8, but clearly a lot of work to do for myself when we head into the Grand Prix here on Sunday, but McLaren maybe has something coming into this weekend. They've shown some pace lately. Before we head to the grid, let's go to a meeting, though, with James Vowles and Toto Wolf.
Gary, how are you? It's been a bit since we last talked.
Yeah, I'm good. How about yourself?
Great. Listen, James and I wanted to talk to you about your future. We are halfway through the year, so we want to touch bases.
So what are your options right now? And are you willing to talk with us in extending your contract?
I mean, I could be real with you both. I've had a few teams reach out that we've just not talked to. We just kind of shut down. But the new Trackhouse team that's trying to come in, I've had some pretty interesting talks with them that have been quite intriguing, to be honest. But I'm certainly still willing to negotiate here at Williams. I really like this team, and I would not mind staying here.
Okay, cool. Let's circle back around to this when we hit the summer break then. Just wanted to make sure we're on the same page.
You join us in the United Kingdom today, or Great Britain as it's alternatively known. Well, it's certainly a great day today as we welcome you to one of the crown jewels of British sports, a track of speed, history and drama. It's Silverstone. It's the British Grand Prix. With good opportunities to overtake at the end of the Wellington and Hangar Straights, there's a lot of potential for close action around the 3.6 miles of Silverstone circuit. With 18 corners and average lap speeds of around 145 miles per hour, it's also one of the longest and quickest circuits on the calendar. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position, and it's Charles Leclerc in P2. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Sainz, Perez, Fernando Alonso, Russell, Oscar Piastri, Hamilton, Albon, Gasly, Tsunoda, Stroll, Norris, Golden Boy, Ocon, Ricciardo, Hülkenberg, Magnussen, Bottas, and Zhou Guanyu. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. And alongside me today, former Formula One driver and former world champion too. See, told you I'll give you a big intro. Anthony Davidson, hello. I know what we've got to do before the start of today's race, but what about our driver? What do the final hours look like for them?
Well, for them, you've got your pre-race rituals that you go through. You see different drivers that, some have got their headphones on, they're listening to the music. Some drivers really absorb the energy from the crowd and they're there waving to them. Other drivers, they go within themselves. They chat to their engineers, absorbing that information, that vital information that you need to carry you through the race. And, those pre-race rituals are essential to making things systematic. We do a lot of Grand Prix in a season, and the more systematic you can be, the easier you are within that environment.
All right, so we're ready to roll here from the grid now. What can we do from the 14th starting position? 2 stops have been the way lately with the mod, but actually 1 stop is going to be the way here in Silverstone. So we'll be starting on the soft, going over to the mediums now as Max Verstappen leads the way to green.
Here we go then, and we're off for the formation lap here at Silverstone, dubbed the home of British motor racing. Now, while the layout of this circuit has changed on numerous occasions, the spirit of the track that hosted the very first Formula One World Championship Grand Prix still very much prevails. As the cars come back towards the grid to line up for the start of the race, each driver will be wanting to get the best start they possibly can, and they'll be hoping to finish today's race on the podium, failing that, within the points.
Right, boys, certainly struggling for consistency lately, but I'll see what I can do, get through the grid today.
Hey bud, it's Seb. Go get it today. I know you can put on a show. Good luck.
You hear Sebastian Vettel to us now as Lando Norris finds himself way down the grid here due to some grid penalties. The 2 Sauber kit cars roll up to the back of the grid. If you missed the news last episode, they will be going to Audi a season early next season. We're ready to roll here from the 14th starting position in the home of Formula One. The British Grand Prix from Silverstone is underway and we're racing. It's a great launch off the grid from Norris. Now Verstappen slow. He's gone from first first down to third already, and now here we go with Ferrari out in front, first and fourth, as you got Charles Leclerc in the fourth position, Carlos Sainz, the Spaniard, out in front, and then the Red Bull sandwich, but Verstappen goes from first to third. Perez now into the second position, side-by-side battles happening around. There's Lewis Hamilton on the outside of the Alpine now, as I actually took a bit of an off-track warning as I briefly dipped my whole car off the circuit there on the outside of Lando Norris. As you can see, he's still up my inside. Now we continue wheel to wheel, not going to make it easy now. Of course, these starts so important, especially when you don't really know what the train effect is going to be like. With the mod that we have, of course, it does a great job of eliminating it for the most part, but some tracks it can still happen, so you really want to get everything you can right off the bat here in the first lap or two. I go wide through comps and had to lift to make sure I didn't get a warning there. We don't want two warnings in just the first and opening lap of this Grand Prix. Settling in now behind the V-Carb Japanese driver of Yuki Tsunoda as we round this final corner there in the S's, and feeling like I was dealing with a little bit of understeer on this opening lap. You saw it a couple times already, but overall we escaped that first lap with only, like I said, one warning. And Carlos Sainz, what a start from him. He has one win on the season, and here we go, lap 2, DRS to the back of Yuki Tsunoda. He leaves the inside open for the taking. Up the inside we go, and we'll clear him. Now hold on, he's gonna fight back up the right side. Not quite over yet there with one of the Alpines just behind. Lando Norris actually lost a position now as we sure enough go through and take P11. Pierre Gasly in that 13th spot. Tsunoda shows the nose, wants to fight back into comps. He's gonna back out of it, thinks better of it now. Tsunoda has certainly grown and matured as he's gone here in Formula 1, and in my opinion, you put him now in a car that's going to be capable of winning races, I genuinely believe he's going to be a race winner. Will we see that happen here in the F124 career mode at some point now as we come through to lap 4? And I was quite a ways behind this group of cars, but we were seeing quite a bit of a train effect here today, and that was allowing me to close up quite well and comfortably to this group of cars ahead, including my teammate Alex Albon. So we run P11 as we start lap 5. Lance Stroll, Lewis Hamilton, P10, P9. Hamilton, not the race he's necessarily looking for after his victory last episode for the first time since Jeddah in 2021. Here comes George Russell now on this 5th lap, making a move on Verstappen. Has a Mercedes found something? We saw it last episode, and now Verstappen loses out to George Russell, who takes over 3rd position. A lap later, Perez with a lockup, and he goes from 2nd to 4th. Verstappen slips through into P3, but Russell slides on through, says thank you very much, I'll take 2nd position. We've still just kind of settled in here in this 11th spot now. Tsunoda just behind Lando Norris, about 2 seconds back, and you can see on the track map Pierre Gasly is really backed up and actually causing a bit of a fight and train back there as well, and Albon was actually in a bit of a tussle right here in front of us alongside Oscar Piastri. But look at this, lap 7 for the lead. George Russell has marched his way forward, and now he goes through into the lead here at home in Silverstone, as the fans are going to love to see that one in as well. Here goes Verstappen now on Charles Leclerc, these two battling it out as Verstappen was trying to hold position and he maintains. So some great battles. Sorry, that was Sergio Perez, not Max Verstappen. Now as we're going to lunge one up the inside, a fellow Canadian of Lance Stroll, go for a bit of an aggressive unexpected move on the Aston Martin driver. Will keep it trying to go around the outside, but no, Stroll able to get back out in front there now as we'll settle in. But now we're going to have DRS, so right up to the back of him already. Perfect opportunity here to pull our nose out to the left. He's going to cover it, but not quite enough. Nearly contact. We lunge it deep into the corner, locking up on the left front. Switchback from Stroll. Great battles here for us. I'm not even mad I lost that position. That was really fun right there. Now as we have a little bit of a tank slapper there on the exit here now on lap 8. Lock up at the backside of the circuit. It's Albon, and we've seen him have this in Austria. We have seen him kind of just, for whatever reason, lately really struggle under braking, and now he's under attack, and behind us Tsunoda just locked up as well, and now we're going to be able to go through and take the position from Albon. He's just in that wrong lane, and there we go, into the top 10 now. So we'll try and focus in on running down Lance Stroll. I'm not in the DRS and I couldn't get any closer, so here comes Albon now, back up my inside into the right-hander, lap 9, so he'll retake P10. I'm not going to make it too difficult on him. I do think he does have the faster car than me this weekend, it certainly seems like now, but I'm still as well not going to make it easy. Now we're going for the lunge back around the outside at this point here, looking for that 10th spot. Nearly contact. He actually missed the apex a little bit there, but nonetheless we're going to be able to complete the pass again. So back into the top 10. Maybe not great to have two teammates battling at this current point in the Grand Prix, but now here he goes again up my inside. But again, I'm not going to make it that difficult on him. I'm saying, hey, if you want to go past me, go for it now and just try to lead us forward. That's kind of the goal. Albon, bring us forward, lock up in front of us, that's Piastri, and now on the back of Albon, he locks up again, and somehow we avoid damage.
What the f***, man? I can't stop this thing.
You hear Albon's reaction now as our pit window is now open at the end of this lap, so we will be pitting. Here's Fernando Alonso at the end of the lap as well, going for an overtake on Perez, who's continued to drop. He's been passed by Leclerc now as well. As now, what is going on here? These two make contact, they're wrecking, they're crashing. They somehow keep it going. Stroll slips through, nearly a huge incident there, and they're both all over the place. Safety car could maybe even be coming out from this now, as they're going to be stopped. We're coming into the pit lane nonetheless, and there it is. Safety car is going to be deployed, so we get into the pits, and this is an opportunity. So we're going to come in, and we're going to take off the soft compound. We'll put on the medium. This is our scheduled pit stop. But what an absolute disaster that just suddenly turned into. So we are going to probably gain some track position because there's cars that are, of course, on track in front of us that still have to pit, and quite a few cars there. So that is really, really interesting. We'll take a look at some of the replay here on board, at least, with Fernando Alonso, or sorry, Lance Stroll going through the middle there. But they came together. Perez was trying to stay out while Alonso was trying to come into the pits. They were side by side. This is an issue that I've seen in previous games as well, and they all crashed into each other now. So once this all settled through and pit stops happened and whatnot, a lot of drivers got the short end of the stick, including our teammate of Albon, who's now down to 12th. We get through into P6, matching our result from last episode, a career high in Austria. I don't think we have the pace to maintain P6 here. We got the pair of McLarens right here behind us. I think Lando Norris is definitely one out. But it's Carlos Sainz who's still at least in front, and you can see I was struggling to get my tires up to temperature now, but nonetheless we'll get back racing here, and it's all the Spaniard of Sainz looking for win number 2, and at the same track he got win number 1 at a few years ago now, as he leads the way down through turn number 1, being chased by George Russell. Lewis Hamilton won out quite big from this whole safety car process as well. He enters the picture there in the top 5 behind the Red Bull of Max Verstappen. Of course, Perez's day and Alonso's day takes a huge hit, ruin for them too. Now Alonso was looking so good in Austria, and then we just watched him fade as the race went on after he led the first about 10 laps of that Grand Prix, and things just didn't quite work out for him. But nonetheless, for us, trying to just remain within the 1 second DRS range of Lewis Hamilton, that's kind of the goal for myself, and that will make things a lot easier on us coming up towards the final 10 laps of this Grand Prix. Unfortunately, I was struggling to actually, reach that kind of benchmark that I had set for myself, and we're hovering right about around 1 second behind, but unfortunately that gap's just going to increase. And towards the end of this lap, here comes Lewis Hamilton now looking for a move with the DRS of the inside of Max Verstappen now, and it really does seem like that Mercedes has something special here this weekend. Hamilton through into P4. Leclerc runs P3, but Russell P2. We saw him take the lead earlier. He's going to have a chance to maybe do it back again, but you can see that I just don't have enough pace right now, and Lando Norris is starting to put some pressure on me as Hamilton goes purple. Fastest lap of the Grand Prix, and here we are later on lap 16, and it's a double Mercedes-Ferrari battle. Russell around the outside for the lead, and Hamilton's going around Leclerc for P3. Who's going to come out of on top of this battle between both pairs now? Russell's going to get the lead, I think, right here. Hold on. Yes, he does clear. Now Hamilton as well clear. So Hamilton to third, but George Russell to the lead of the Grand Prix. Now Hamilton's going to try and hunt down Charles Leclerc. As that was happening, I had gotten passed by Lando Norris in the same area, and I didn't really fight it. I just kind of basically rolled over and let him have it now. Now, let's go through the grid with 10 laps to go.
George Russell leads the way as he looks for his second win on the year. And at home, Mercedes have been on a heck of a run here, haven't they, Seb?
Yeah, they have been great lately. They are starting to look back on form from previous years, of course.
Let me ask you, Seb, about Owen. Since you have been mentoring him, you played a big role in getting him that Williams seat. He has done a fine job so far, but just needs more consistency. Is he in line and in conversation with Hamilton, expected to leave at year's end?
I don't think so, honestly. Toto did us a favour getting him in the Williams seat, but he's not part of the Mercedes Academy. Honestly, I think it will be best for Gary to search around and try to find a home, and I think he's going to have some good options here soon.
And there we see Valtteri Bottas in 15th as we start to hear his name in the rumour mill as of late. We're about halfway through the season, and silly season loves to pick up around this time.
Lots of things will develop and change before the end of the year. It's going to be exciting.
Maybe even an 11th team in the sport. It is possible.
And there you see Zhou Guanyu at the bottom of the grid. He's actually way back there because he had a lockup that separated him quite a bit here now. As we've seen quite a bit of the train effect here today, so the mod hasn't really been working as much as I would like it to here in Silverstone, where it separates the cars a little bit now. But we continue on here in P7, and I'm about to be, I think, under pressure from Oscar Piastri. I don't have a car that's capable of being up here, and now we're not going to be up here because for the first time in our career, we're going to suffer a mechanical failure. Lando Norris as well with a lockup right there in front of us, but it's going to be day over. Engine's gone, guys. Sorry. I mean, no warning.
Okay, mate. Pull over on the left here. Pull over on the left. Sorry, mate.
Sorry, Gary, we put you in position again. We'll bounce back from this.
And that's it. Our first mechanical failure of our F1 24 career mode, and it took about half the season just about, so I guess that's one of the positives, is it took a while, but yeah, day over for us here. Unfortunately, not what we wanted there, and to my surprise, and maybe to everybody's surprise, somehow, some way, Red Bull and Max Verstappen win the race. I don't know how, but they pull it off here. And that's going to, of course, help Verstappen increase his championship lead. George Russell still maintains a podium, so, I mean, great job from him. And as well, Carlos Sainz off the podium. It was Leclerc, the Ferrari, that gets on there. So a bit of a shake-up there. I don't know if the simulation got weird or, you know, if there was a safety car from my mechanical issue and it just opened up some opportunities for some drivers. I'm not really sure what happened. Nonetheless, Verstappen, another win to his tally, now over 60 wins in his Formula 1 career, as we take a listen in on the podium.
Yeah, honestly, a great day for us. We probably shouldn't have won, but things worked out and we got it, so yeah.
Unfortunate, obviously. I just want to apologise to the fans. I should have won this for them today.
You hear the two tales, the two sides of it. Verstappen pleasantly surprised to win, Russell disappointed, and of course wanted to win in front of the home crowd, of course, here in Silverstone. Why does it look so dark? I'm not quite sure. It looks like we're in a night race all of a sudden here from Silverstone. Nonetheless, Max Verstappen pulls it off. Hamilton ends up 4th, and Sainz was down in 6th, while Norris got up to 5th. Another solid day from Piastri, Lance Stroll in the points. Perez only manages P9, but a point for Yuki Tsunoda, while our teammate Alex Albon gets P11. Alonso rebounded to P13 after the issues he faced early on. And of course, we're the only DNF here today as we look at the standings. 39 points in favor of Max Verstappen over Charles Leclerc. How about Hamilton up there in P3, while Sainz P4, just 2 points behind him. We're still ahead of Albon. Of course, he picked up no points, and in the constructors, we remain in P6, while Red Bull has a 28-point advantage over Ferrari headed into Hungary. I'll see you guys then. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.